Hi everyone, and welcome back to Rosetta Tone's Deciphering Music Theory series. This video, we're going to be taking a look at a few more aspects of rhythm. Last video we talked about pulse and basic rhythmic notation. There are, however, a few more ways to describe and notate rhythm when reading sheet music. At the beginning of a song, you might notice what looks like a fraction. These numbers tell us a few important pieces of information. The bottom number tells us what note gets the beat, and the top number tells us how many beats there are in a measure. Most songs have 4 beats in a measure, and the most common time signature is 4/4. Because of how common 4 beats in a measure are, we call each beat a quarter note, because each one takes up a quarter of a measure. If the bottom number was an 8 and the top number is 6, then the 8th note would get the beat, and there would be 6 beats in a measure. The most common time signatures are 4/4, 3/4, which is 3 beats in a measure, 6/8, and 12/8, which is 12 eighth note beats in a measure. For time signatures that have eighth notes as the pulse, it's very common to group together beats when at faster speeds. For example, in 12/8 you might count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, giving an emphasis to beats 1, 4, 7, and 10. At the top of the page you might also notice a quarter note or dotted quarter note. This tells us the tempo of the song. For songs that have quarter notes as the main pulse, this will usually be a quarter note followed by a number. For songs that have the 8th note getting the pulse, this will usually be a dotted quarter note followed by a number. For example, if its dotted quarter note equals 80, you might feel it as. But count it as. Whenever there is a dot on a note, you take half of the value of the note and add it onto the original value. So half of a quarter note is an 8th note. Then you add the value of a quarter note to this, and you have a note that takes up the value of 3 eighth notes. A dotted 8th note would take up the equivalent of 3 16th notes, and a dotted half note would take up the equivalent of 3 quarter notes. If you see a curved line between two notes, this is called a tie. It means to combine the value of the two notes together. If you had an 8th note tied to an 8th note, then you would hold this for the equivalent of 1 quarter note. When looking at sheet music, you might notice different vertical lines. Thick black lines are used to indicate the end of sections or the end of an entire song. Thin black lines are used to divide up measures. When we've counted all of the beats listed in a time signature, we add that line and start over again. It's very common for there to be a chord change or important melody note at the beginning of a new measure. The final two parts of rhythm are subdivision and syncopation. When a beat is constantly divided into equal parts that repeats over and over again, we say that it is subdivided. For example, if the tempo is 90 BPM and the quarter note gets the beat, then playing constant eighth notes would be a subdivision. This would also apply if you were playing consistent 16th notes. If it is in 6/8 or 12/8, this might be playing constant eighth notes or 16th notes. Subdivision can be used to help give a clear idea of where the beat is. For example, in the beginning of U2's Where the Streets Have No Name, there is very little pulse or subdivision. This gives the keyboard intro an atmospheric feeling, as if everything is floating. Subdivisions are later introduced in the guitar, which helps create a steadier pulse and a stronger feeling of forward momentum. When rhythms avoid landing on the downbeat, this is called syncopation. Syncopation is a way to build rhythmic tension, similar to how the 5 chord is used to create harmonic tension. The more off the beat you are, and the longer you avoid landing on the beat, the tenser the rhythm becomes. You can hear this in the vocal melody of Silk Sonic's Skate. In a room full of dimes, you would be $100 if being fine was a crime. Girl, they lock your little fine ass up in the tower. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below or send me a message. Follow the link in my bio for rhythm exercises and answer keys. Thanks!